So as Jeremy mentioned, my name is Jake Marcinko. I'm Senior Manager of Solution Standards at the PCI Security Standards Council. I'm in charge of the Council's software security standards, and with me is?
I'm Bhavna Sondhi. I'm the Director of P2P, PIN, SSF, 3DS, all these niche frameworks, technical solutions at Coalfire. And yeah, back to you, Jake.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the emerging tools and techniques that we're seeing in software design and development. But before we get into that today, I'm curious, how many of you folks in the audience would consider yourselves gamers? All right, cool. So there's different types of games, and this is where I want an honest assessment. How many folks in this room have at least at one point either played or tried to play Dungeons and Dragons? All right, good. Most people, I'm surprised most people wouldn't admit to that. So I guess my next question is do you guys have basements that look like this? This is Bhavna's basement. Not mine, this is Bhavna's basement.
We play a lot of board games.
Yeah, so I too was a gamer growing up. I wasn't into board games quite the way that Bhavna and her family were. I was more into the fantasy and mystery book series. Oh, I see some people pumping their hands here. So the next question for the group, who here has read Hardy Boys? Really? We have that many old timers in here? Fellow old timers? Awesome. So obviously, if you're in this room, you've probably heard of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which was another book series that I was really into. How many of you remember the middle one, the old Choose Your Adventure style books? Those were awesome. For those of you who don't remember that, the way that these things would work is that you would read a little bit and then it would give you an option. It would say, if you want to do this, turn to page 70. If you want to do this, turn to page 148. So you could have a different adventure and read the same book 3 or 4 times. So I, in addition to being into these type books, I was also into, anyone remember the text-based adventure games? Who recalls the name of the very first one? Zork was one of them, yes. There was definitely one of them. So we're going to get to this in a second. So there was the one that was recognized, for at least in the personal computing age. Now there were some that dated back to mainframe systems, but the first one was called Colossal Cave Adventure, or Advent for short, because at the time the longest you could have the file name was 6 characters, so it was just Advent. But anyway, so what we thought about doing today, so recently I came across the source code for the text-based adventure game, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And so you can imagine my excitement as someone who is really into these text-based adventure games when I found this, and it made me wonder if we could do a presentation that paid homage to these types of text-based adventure games. So I roped Bhavna into this. So we put together a little simulation that's going to help us present our material today, again, in the style of the old text-based adventure games. So I have no idea how this is going to work out, so buckle up. We're going to find out if this is what this is going to be like.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Software Security Galaxy, a science fiction story. Copyright 1984 by Infocom Incorporated, all rights reserved.
Ooh.
Chapter 1, The Beginning of the End. You wake up. The room is spinning very gently round your head. Or at least it would be if you could see it, which you can't. It is pitch black.
So do folks remember how this works? So it would give you a scenario, and then you had to basically guess what to do. And so, Bhavna, what do you think we should try and do here? We're obviously, it's dark.
Yeah, so get out of bed.
Get out of bed. Okay, we're going to try and get out of bed.
As you search for a place to put your feet, you slam your big toe into an unknown piece of furniture and return to your bed withering in pain.
Okay, so apparently that didn't work. Let's at least, it's dark, so how about we try and turn on the light? And I apologize for the game. This gameplay features actually mimics pretty well how slow these games were in the past. All right, so we'll try and turn on the light.
You manage to clumsily fumble for the light switch, and miraculously, you find it. Good start to the day. Pity it is going to be one of the worst days of your life. The light is now on. The light reveals your bedroom, which is a mess. It is a small bedroom, with a faded carpet and old wallpaper. There is a desk, a chair, and a window with the curtains drawn. Slung over the chair is a tatty dressing gown. On the desk is a phone.
All right, so real quickly before we advance, does anyone recognize this game? Did everyone actually play this version of the game? So this interface is the 30-year anniversary interface for A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So just an interesting thing there. Okay, well, we'll keep going. We're going to try and push this gameplay a little bit faster. What are we going to try? You want to try and get out of the bed again?
Yeah, get out of
Okay, let's
bed.
try and get out of the bed again.
You stand up, still a bit woozy from the previous night's libations. As you put on the tattered gown, you notice a couple of analgesic pills in the left pocket. You quickly take them, while praising the small fortunes in life. The brief moment of peace is interrupted abruptly by the skull-shattering ring of the phone on your desk. You try to ignore it, but the sound is only exacerbating your already blistering hangover.
All right, well, we better answer that phone because I have a feeling it's an important call.
It's your boss, Zaphod Beeblebrox. His voice crackles through the receiver, sounding extremely agitated. We need to have the software features fully integrated and tested prior to tomorrow's release. Can you handle that? He asks sternly. You muster up as much confidence as you can and respond, yes, I can handle it. I'll get started right away. But before you can finish your sentence, your boss hangs up the phone, abruptly ending the call. You put down the receiver, take a deep breath, and think to yourself, this is going to be an exceptionally long day. Then, it hits you. The answer to all your problems. The solution is so simple that you can't help but mutter the words, bubble.
All right, so for those of you who don't know what Bubble is what's called a low-code software development platform. And this is one of the tools we're seeing emerging in the software development space. So I'm going to let Bhavna talk a little bit about what no-code or low-code software development tools are.
Sure.
Here we go.
Yeah.
It's like gameplay.
What is no code, low code? Yeah. These are basically the tools or developer platforms that allow users to create applications just without needing to know how to write a code or even know the code. And with low code, generally minimal knowledge of programming language or software design is needed, but with no code, non-developers can build applications as well without requiring any technical expertise. And zero coding is needed in that one. Let's go through some of the benefits. It's easier to use, where users just have a drag and drop visual interface that they can use to develop a variety of applications. The development is faster. Users can integrate and connect with various applications, processes from within the existing applications as well. And as a result, quicker delivery to market. Costs are comparatively lower as well. And organizations can save development time and valuable resources. The customer experience is enhanced because there's more time put towards providing more support to support to your customers, so which gives better customer experience as well. But of course, with the upside comes downsides as well. There are security issues that should be taken into consideration. Some of them are the vulnerabilities associated with third-party components. The low-code, no-code platforms, they often rely on third-party components like the libraries, APIs or libraries. And these components are generally vulnerable to variety of issues, like they're vulnerable to a lot of problems. And if the applications are not, components can introduce a lot of vulnerabilities into applications if they are not vetted or maintained. And as a result of it, what organizations should be doing is making sure the origin of the APIs is maintained, and also current versions are taken into consideration. The developers of low-code platform, they don't tend to have a lot of secure coding knowledge, and that can lead to vulnerabilities as well. So it's important to ensure that even those developers, platform users, have awareness and training around low-code, no-code platform. The low-code, no-code platforms also can be complex, and it's easy for users to misconfigure them. That's the biggest problem we've seen in the industry as well, and can lead to security vulnerabilities. Hence, it's important to configure them. The other issues are related to insecure communications. And let's take an example. Like, developers tend to keep the web application lightweight through minimal coding, and as a result of it, they potentially end up using API, making use of HTTP protocol, for example. So it's easier, the mitigation is easier using HTTPS protocols with TLS certificates for secure communications. That should be considered. A lot of times, even low-code, no-code can make it difficult for IT security teams to have visibility into what is being developed or deployed in the environment, and that can cause a lot of security concerns as well. Hence, implementing security controls and having compliance and governance process in place is important. Now, we just went through some of the benefits, the security issues, and how an organization can go about resolving it. It's, of course, important to make sure there is training on secure coding practices. The APIs that are being used are properly vetted and maintained as well. There should be security controls that should be implemented that provides visibility into the low-code, no-code applications. And ultimately, providing training is even on the platform configurations itself. I think, Jake, do you want to go ahead next?
So we talked about no-code, low-code. Let's go back to the gameplay to help prepare, to set us up for our next scenario.
Yeah.
Chapter 2, Shadows in Darkness. Having dealt with the latest crisis created by your boss, you can now continue working on your favorite project, the incredibly popular role-playing game titled 42 Adventures in the Infinite Improbability. After pushing a few updates to the production code, the technical support team has discovered several intermittent issues with the game's operation. There have been reports of random data glitches, missing information, and even a few system crashes in the payment functions for the Utter Mayhem gameplay feature and other expansion offerings. You suspect it may be an API conflict causing the issue, but you aren't quite sure.
Yeah, so API conflicts typically, so we'll run an API discovery tool, see what happens.
Good thinking. As suspected, it was an undocumented API endpoint that was causing the issues. You successfully removed the offending code and pushed the updated code back into production, to the delight of all game players worldwide.
So undocumented or unmaintained APIs is a common problem when we're dealing with cloud-based applications. Bhavna, you want to speak a little bit about what cloud APIs are and what are the benefits and challenges?
Yeah, sure. Actually, before going into discussing the benefits or challenges, let's first understand what cloud API is. I think probably all of you know, but it's just a software interface that allows applications to interact with a lot of cloud-based services, be it database or storage solutions. We are seeing a lot of implementations of point of sale in the cloud and migration from in-house hosted back point of sale systems as well. A lot of retail industry is being transformed by integrating AI and machine learning as well into in the point of sale systems. So just take an example, like AI powered point of sale system, it ends up recommending you a lot of related products, and it's like, I think it's not news to anyone. You open up an app and there's always recommendations waiting for you as well. So now let's go into the benefits of use of cloud-based point of sale systems. It can enhance the data accuracy. It can provide accurate reporting, analysis, efficiencies improved. There's automation of various processes. Cloud-based point of sale systems can also like streamline and automate several tasks, reducing the manual work. It's scalable. All the maintenance, installations, updates can all be performed remotely as well. And now talking about the issues related to it. The vulnerability that we just touched based on was related to Shadow API, which is an undocumented API, and that one operates and exists outside the official like channels, monitored channels. There's also Zombie API, which was one time approved by organization but resides in the systems. With Shadow API, it's never really approved. But all of these can ultimately break a lot of regulatory compliance with a lot of frameworks. Shadow APIs can also unknowingly leak sensitive data. So there's a lot of things to be considered, and mitigation should be put into place as a result, like API discovery, inventory management, enforcing governance, all of those. Now going into this other aspects of it, APIs in the cloud, they also expose more functionality to the internet, and as a result, significantly increases the attack vectors. There's OWASP Top 10 API Security Project. If you have not seen that, you should go and look into it. They have discussed several issues with use of API and what are the risks related to it. I think we wanted to go, but we might run out of time, so I'm going to move ahead. And just mitigating factors are making sure you have secure coding and all in place. There's also issues related to data protection and privacy, where you should have appropriate implementations like strong authentication mechanisms or encryption and data protection as well. And then just going into the next part of it, I think the important key to take away from there is you have to stay updated on API security. Just making sure that do you want to go on the next one?
Yeah.
Sorry, but just because I know that we might not have enough time. But
so we talked about no-code, low-code, and cloud APIs. We're going to go back to the gameplay one last time to see what our third scenario is.
Chapter 3, The Rise of AutoGuard. After participating in numerous security assessments with your assessor, Trillian, the two of you decide to put your coding skills to more productive use. You work together to develop a new software product, called AutoGuard, that will revolutionize the security assessment industry. A key feature of AutoGuard is its ability to analyze vast amounts of source data, cross-reference regulatory requirements, flag potential issues, and generate reports, all in a matter of seconds, tasks that would otherwise take an assessor days to complete manually. Despite acknowledging your software engineering masterpiece, Trillian conveys her concern about the reliability of such extensive automation. Can the results be trusted?
So we're getting a lot of questions at PCI about the use of automation and AI in security assessments. And before I talk about the Council's position on the use of these technologies, do you want to speak on what Coalfire is doing in this space and what some of the benefits are?
There's a lot of benefits when it comes to automation. I think a lot of cost savings is involved, and that's what I think every company is wanting that nowadays. There's also time savings and increased productivity. It's also, there's a lot of greater scalability, like basically there's various compliance frameworks that can be taken into consideration, and also you can also account for scope increase and time is reduced ultimately. And like GRC management is simplified, where a lot of manual processes are reduced. You can coordinate multiple assessments and reduce a lot of costs. You can ultimately shorten the compliance assessment duration. And there are several GRC tools in the market, and they are still evolving. And one of the tools is also developed by my company, Coalfire. It's, again, trying to make sure you're able to coordinate multiple assessments at a time for various frameworks, ISO, FedRAMP, PCI, all of those. Yeah, you should visit Coalfire booth to learn more about it. Jake, do you want to discuss about the automated assessments?
Yeah, let's skip over that slide. So first and foremost, the Council acknowledges the benefits of these technologies. We want to encourage the use of them. However, and I must stress this, you can use them to augment your existing security assessment practices, but do not rely on them for decision-making functions. We are currently working on guidance are issuing guidance on the use of these technologies. I would expect that to come out probably after the first of the year. I'm also going to talk a little bit about automation in a session that I have later today on talking about software bill of materials. But before we wrap up today, let's go back to the gameplay and see what happens to Arthur.
Epilogue. You find yourself standing on the edge of the virtual universe, a place where code and reality blur into one. After surviving a series of bizarre mishaps, battling rogue APIs, trudging through the depths of an infinite server farm, and debugging reality itself, you are finally at peace. You look out into the digital expanse, where bits and bytes flow like rivers, forming and dissolving galaxies in the blink of an eye. You take a deep breath, feeling the weight of your journey lifting. All the glitches, crashes, and impossible logic loops that once threatened to consume you are now mere memories. You've certainly had your share of adventures, but you know what they say, there's always one more bug. And with that, you realize that you've spent enough time in other people's reality, unraveling the mysteries of the universe bite by bite. Perhaps now, it's time to craft your own reality. Acknowledging that this was always your true calling, you begin tapping on your keyboard intently. With each keystroke, the digital universe around you starts to coalesce. Planets form, brimming with life, and stars ignite in the void. You begin your work on what will be your true masterpiece, a world where anything is possible, where curiosity leads to endless discovery, and where the absurdity of the cosmos is a source of joy, rather than confusion.
All right, so just to quickly wrap up what we talked about today, we talked about no-code, low-code, we talked about cloud APIs, and we talked about use of AI on automation security assessments. And again, we want to encourage the use of these tools, but first and foremost, understand that the risks associated with them. Don't rely entirely on them for decision making. And with that, we'd like to thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, Bhavna and I will both be at our respective booths this afternoon, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.